Dreamers. Tonight, our story begins where the night never truly ends, where the rain falls like memories, and the sound of a distant whistle breaks the silence between worlds. Take a breath, close your eyes, and listen. The midnight train is about to arrive. The clock above the old railway station struck 11:47. Its hands trembled slightly with every drop of rain that hit the tower's iron frame. The lamps along the platform glowed like small golden moons, blurred by the mist that clung to the air. Evelyn stood under her black umbrella, her coat soaked at the edges. She had been waiting there for nearly an hour, though no train was scheduled at this time. The last one had left just after 10. But the strange letter that arrived at her door with no return address, said otherwise. Be at platform 9. Midnight. Bring nothing but your courage. It was written in elegant handwriting, signed only with a symbol she couldn't understand, a small circle with 3 crossing lines. At first, she thought it was a cruel joke, but something in her heart, a faint pull, a whisper she couldn't explain, told her to come. And so here she was, waiting in the rain, with nothing but her umbrella and her heartbeat echoing in the silence. The station master, an old man with tired eyes and a brass key hanging from his neck, walked slowly along the platform. He stopped when he saw Evelyn. "You shouldn't be here, miss," he said softly. "There are no more trains tonight." Evelyn hesitated, then reached into her coat pocket and handed him the letter. When his eyes fell on the symbol, his expression changed, a flicker of recognition and fear. He looked around, lowering his voice. "Who gave you this?" "I don't know," she replied. "It was slipped under my door yesterday." The old man's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then it's too late. The train is coming." Before she could ask what he meant, the ground beneath them began to hum. A deep vibration, soft but powerful, as if the air itself had begun to breathe. The lamps flickered. Somewhere beyond the fog, a distant sound began to rise, slow, rhythmic, and heavy. Chug, chug, chug. The whistle came next, long and mournful, echoing through the empty night. A light appeared far down the track, faint at first, then brighter with every passing second. Evelyn stepped back, her heart racing. The station master removed his hat and whispered, almost to himself, "It's been 50 years." The train emerged from the fog like a ghost made of steel. Its body was deep black, polished like glass, and on its front, written in glowing silver letters, was the name, Starlight Express. Steam rose around the wheels, wrapping the platform in a cloud of warmth and rain. Evelyn stared in awe. The train looked ancient, yet alive. Its carriages gleamed softly, each window showing faint silhouettes of passengers who didn't move. The door of the first carriage slid open with a hiss. From within came a golden glow, warm and inviting. Evelyn turned to the station master, but he was already gone. Only the sound of rain remained. She took one step forward, then another. Her reflection shimmered in the puddles as she reached the open door. A woman's voice echoed faintly from inside, soft, melodic, almost like a lullaby. "Welcome aboard, Evelyn." Her breath caught. "How do you know my name?" No answer. Only the rhythmic ticking of a clock somewhere within the train. She hesitated one last time before stepping inside. The moment her foot crossed the threshold, the sound of rain vanished completely. Warm light embraced her, and the world outside seemed to fade into silence. The door closed behind her with a gentle sigh. The interior was unlike any train she had ever seen. It was filled with soft golden light, ornate wooden panels, and the scent of jasmine and old paper. Passengers sat quietly in velvet seats, dressed in clothes from another century. No one spoke. No one moved. Some stared out the windows. Others simply gazed at their hands, as though lost in thought. Evelyn walked slowly down the aisle, her footsteps muffled by the carpet. Every detail felt suspended, like time itself had forgotten to pass. She stopped beside a seat where an empty teacup rested on the table. Steam still rose from it. Then a voice came from behind her. "You made it." Evelyn turned sharply. A man stood there, tall, wearing a dark coat and a silver pocket watch. His hair was streaked with gray, his eyes clear and calm. "Who are you?" she asked. He smiled faintly. "Just another passenger, though I've been waiting longer than most." He gestured toward the window, where the world outside had begun to move, or rather, dissolve. The station melted away, replaced by shifting shapes of mist and starlight. "The Starlight Express," he said quietly, "travels between what was and what could have been." Evelyn felt her heart tremble. "You mean we're not in the real world anymore?" The man tilted his head. "Define real." Before she could reply, the whistle blew again, long and low, vibrating through her bones. Outside, shadows danced in the fog, taking the shapes of faces, memories, and places she half remembered. And through it all, a whisper began to form, faint at first, then clearer. "Find the one who never boarded." Evelyn froze. The whisper seemed to come from inside her own mind. She turned to the man, but he was already walking away, fading into the golden light of the next carriage. The train continued forward, carrying her deeper into the unknown night. And as the rain returned, distant, faint, like a memory, Evelyn realized that this journey had only just begun. The train rolled through a landscape that didn't seem to belong to any map. Outside the window, rivers of mist shimmered beneath a violet sky. Mountains floated like clouds, and stars hung low enough to touch. The air glowed faintly, like the world had been painted in moonlight. Evelyn sat near the window, her reflection staring back at her. For a long time, she said nothing, just watched the impossible scenery slide past. The steady clack of the train wheels was hypnotic. Yet beneath it, she could still hear that whisper, faint, like someone breathing words through the air. "Find the one who never boarded." She didn't understand what it meant, but it lingered in her mind like a melody she couldn't forget. The man with the silver watch had disappeared into the next carriage. Evelyn decided to follow him. She rose from her seat and began walking down the aisle, past the silent passengers. Each one seemed trapped in their own dream, some smiling faintly, others lost in sorrow. When she reached the connecting door, she paused. The door was made of glass, but the reflection inside wasn't hers. Instead, she saw a different woman, pale, wearing a 19th century dress, standing where Evelyn stood. The woman's lips moved soundlessly, as though trying to speak to her. Then the light flickered, and the reflection vanished. Evelyn's hand trembled as she opened the door. The next carriage was darker. Candles lined the walls, their flames bending in rhythm with the train's motion. A faint scent of lavender filled the air. At the far end of the carriage sat the man with the pocket watch. He looked up as she approached. "You weren't supposed to see the reflection," he said softly. Evelyn frowned. "What do you mean?" "That was her," he replied. "The one who never boarded." She froze. "You know about the whisper?" He nodded. "We all hear it, sooner or later. But few dare to follow it." He motioned for her to sit across from him. When she did, The train gave a gentle lurch, and outside, the scenery changed again. From stars and mist to a vast, endless sea under a silver moon. The sound of rain grew louder, though there was no storm. "My name is Samuel," he said finally. "I've been on this train for a very long time." Evelyn leaned forward. "How long?" He gave a sad smile. "Long enough to forget what waiting feels like." He opened his pocket watch. Inside, instead of hands and numbers, there was a swirling mist. Faint figures moving within, like tiny memories trying to escape. "This train," he said quietly, "travels through the echoes of unfinished stories, the regrets people leave behind when they die, or when they forget how to live." Evelyn's breath caught. "You mean everyone here is?" "Not alive," he finished softly. "Not entirely, at least." The words hung in the air, heavy and quiet. Evelyn felt her pulse in her throat. But somehow, the idea didn't frighten her as much as it should have. "Then why am I here?" she asked. Samuel studied her carefully. "Because someone called you. The letter you received, it wasn't random. The train appears to those who still carry a promise they never kept." Evelyn's mind raced. A promise? She tried to think back. Her father's face, long gone. Her younger brother's laughter. The night she left home and never returned. There had been so many words left unsaid, so many letters never sent. "I don't know which promise," she murmured. Samuel closed his watch. "You will. But first, you must find her." "The woman in the reflection?" He nodded. "She's been searching for someone for over a century. But she can't leave the train. Not until she finds the one who never boarded." Evelyn frowned. "But if she's on the train, doesn't that mean she boarded?" Samuel looked at her with eyes full of quiet sorrow. "No," he whispered. "It means she never arrived." The whistle sounded again, low and haunting. The lights flickered. The air grew colder. From somewhere down the corridor came a faint sound. Not footsteps, but something lighter, like the sweep of silk across the floor. Evelyn turned toward it instinctively. A shadow moved between the candle flames. Then a figure appeared, the same woman she'd seen in the reflection. Her eyes were pale blue, her skin almost translucent. She walked slowly, her dress trailing behind her like mist. And when she spoke, her voice was soft and distant, like rain on glass. "You're not supposed to be here yet." Evelyn's breath hitched. "Who are you?" "A passenger." "Once," the woman said. "But the train left before I could board. It has carried my shadow ever since." Samuel stood, but didn't speak. He seemed to be listening, as though her words held a truth he already knew. Evelyn took a cautious step forward. "What do you mean, your shadow?" The woman's eyes shimmered with tears. "I waited for someone who never came. The rain kept falling. The clock kept striking midnight. And when the train finally arrived, I was gone." Her voice broke into silence. Evelyn whispered, "Gone where?" "Here," the woman said. "Between the carriages. Between the moments." The train suddenly jolted, throwing Evelyn off balance. The candles flickered violently, and the sound of rain turned into thunder. The windows blurred as if the outside world were melting. The woman's figure flickered, fading in and out of existence. "He was supposed to meet me," she said, "but he never did. I've waited through storms, through lifetimes, through silence. And now," she turned her eyes on Evelyn, "you carry his name." The words struck like lightning. Evelyn felt her chest tighten. "What do you mean?" The woman's outline grew faint, dissolving into mist. "You are his blood, the last of his promise." Then she was gone. The air went still. Samuel looked shaken. She was talking about the first conductor, he said quietly. The man who built this train. He swore it would never stop running until every unfinished story found its end. He looked at Evelyn with something like awe. And if what she said is true, you're the key to stopping it. The whistle cried again, this time louder, sharper. The windows turned black. The train began to move faster, the rhythm of the wheels beating like a heart. Evelyn clutched the armrest as the light dimmed. "Where are we going?" she shouted over the noise. Samuel answered softly, almost like a prayer. "To the last station." Outside, flashes of lightning revealed strange silhouettes running alongside the train, shadows of people chasing something they could never reach. The rain turned silver, glowing as it fell. And somewhere deep within the sound, Evelyn thought she heard voices calling her name, not in fear, but in longing. The Starlight Express sped forward into the unknown, its whistle echoing across the dreamlike landscape. And Evelyn realized that the journey wasn't about escape. It was about returning to something she had forgotten long ago. The Starlight Express thundered through a storm of silver rain. Evelyn sat in silence, the weight of the woman's words echoing inside her. "You are his blood, the last of his promise." She couldn't breathe. She tried to remember her grandfather's stories, about a man who built a train that could chase the horizon itself. He'd always called it a bedtime legend. But what if it hadn't been a legend at all? Samuel sat across from her, hands clasped tightly around his silver watch. The candlelight flickered across his face. "Evelyn," he said softly, "if you truly are the last of his line, then you hold something this train has been waiting for." She frowned. Waiting for what? He hesitated. For release. Outside the windows, the mist began to clear. And there, beyond the glass, she saw something incredible. A station, but unlike any she'd ever seen. It floated in the middle of the night sky, suspended in starlight. Dozens of clocks hung from the ceiling, each ticking in perfect unison. The name on the sign read, Terminus Somnia, the last station before dawn. The train slowed. Its whistle blew one long, mournful note. Passengers began to stir. Some stood up, smiling faintly, as though they'd been waiting centuries for this moment. Others simply disappeared, fading into the air like mist catching sunlight. Evelyn turned to Samuel. "What's happening?" "They're reaching their destination," he said quietly. "The end of their story." She looked out the window again and saw the ghostly woman standing on the platform, her pale hand raised as if beckoning. The doors hissed open. Cool air swept in, carrying the scent of rain and lavender. Evelyn stepped out, her boots clicking softly against the marble floor. The station was vast, silent, and lit by golden lamps that never flickered. The woman waited near the edge of the platform. When Evelyn approached, she turned slowly, her face calm now. No fear, no sorrow. "You came," the woman whispered. Evelyn nodded. "I had to." "Then it's time," the woman said. "The promise must be kept." The storm outside faded to a gentle drizzle. Samuel joined them, his watch glowing faintly in his hand. "Tell her," Evelyn said to him. "Tell me what this promise really was." He took a slow breath. "The man who built this train, your great-grandfather, made it for those who lost their way between dreams and death. He swore he wouldn't rest until every lost soul found peace." He looked toward the woman. She was the first passenger he failed to save. Evelyn turned to the woman. "What happened to you?" The woman smiled sadly. "I was meant to board with him that night. But the storm came early. He left without me, thinking I'd already gone ahead. I died waiting on the platform. and the train carried my memory ever since." Her gaze softened. But now, his blood has come full circle. She reached out a trembling hand. "You can end the journey." Evelyn felt her heart beating hard in her chest. "How?" she whispered. "By forgiving him," the woman said. "By letting go of what he could not finish." The clocks above them began to chime, one by one, until the whole station filled with the sound of time unraveling. The golden lights dimmed. Evelyn felt something warm on her cheeks, tears she hadn't realized she was shedding. She looked up toward the ceiling and whispered into the still air, "I forgive you." The words echoed softly, not in grief, but in peace. The ground trembled. The entire station shimmered like a mirage. The woman smiled, her form becoming translucent. "You've done it," she said. "The starlight can finally rest." She stepped backward into the light and vanished. Samuel lowered his head, his voice barely a whisper. "She's gone home." The silence that followed was pure, deep, endless. Then, from far off, the faint sound of birdsong, the first hint of dawn. Evelyn turned toward the train. Its once black exterior now glowed faintly, like metal catching morning light. She felt a calm she hadn't known in years. "Where will it go now?" she asked. Samuel smiled, his eyes tired but peaceful. "Everywhere. Nowhere. Maybe it's time for it to sleep." He looked at her one last time. "You should wake up now." The world blurred. The sound of the train faded into the wind. And when Evelyn opened her eyes, she was lying in her bed, morning light spilling through the window. Outside, rain still whispered against the glass. On her bedside table was an old pocket watch, its surface engraved with a single word: "Starlight. Welcome back, dreamers." Tonight's story takes us back, far before Evelyn, far before the whispers of ghosts, back to the man who built the Starlight Express, and the promise that would haunt generations. So sit still, feel the hum of the rails beneath your feet, and listen closely, for the train remembers the beginning of the journey. His name was Alaric Vale, a quiet engineer with eyes like storm clouds and a mind filled with impossible ideas. He wasn't a man of magic. He didn't believe in gods or fate, only in steel, steam, and stars. But one night, while working in the silent rail yard, he saw something he could never explain. A light, faint and flickering, drifting above the empty tracks, and a voice that whispered his name. "Build it," the voice said. "Build the train that never stops." Alaric thought he was losing his mind. He tried to forget, but every night, the same dream returned. He saw endless rails stretching through clouds, through time, through the space between waking and sleeping. And in the dream, he saw passengers, lost souls, waiting. He woke one morning with his hands trembling, his blueprint table covered in sketches he didn't remember drawing. At the center of each page was the same name, written over and over: the Starlight Express. The promise. Alaric began his work. He poured everything he had, his wealth, his years, his sanity, into the engine. To others, it was just a train. But to him, it was a vessel, one that could travel not across land, but across memory. He said to his wife, Leora, "If people can't find peace in life, perhaps they can find it in the journey." She watched him grow thinner every day. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping. He whispered to the engine at night, as though it could hear him. "Soon," he'd say, "soon we'll carry them home." Then came the storm. The night, everything changed. Alaric stood at the station with a single lantern, rain pounding against the glass roof. He was supposed to wait for Leora. Some said it carried the souls of those lost to time. Others said it carried the regrets of its maker. Both were true. Inside the train, Alaric kept his diary, a record of every passenger he met along the way. He wrote by candlelight, his handwriting growing weaker with every page. "The starlight is no longer a machine," he wrote. "It is a promise, and I must see it through until she is found." He meant Leora, the whispering rails. As decades passed, Alaric grew older, though not in the way mortals do. The train existed outside time, and so did he. But his heart aged. His memories frayed. He would walk through the empty cars, whispering names, the souls who came and went. He would listen to the hum of the rails like a heartbeat. Sometimes he thought he heard her voice. "I'm waiting, Alaric." Then he'd smile faintly and write in his journal. Soon, the final entry. One night, the train reached a station he had never seen before. It glowed with soft light, neither day nor night. On the sign above the platform was a name he didn't recognize. Terminus Somnia. Alaric stepped out, his lantern trembling in his hand. The air smelled of rain and lavender. And there, standing at the edge of the platform, was Leora. She looked just as she had the night she died. Her smile was sad and beautiful. "You kept your promise," she whispered. "Now it's time to rest." He dropped the lantern. The flame went out, and as the first light of dawn touched the rails, the Starlight Express released one final sigh, a sound like peace. The diary closes. Years later, the diary was found on a dusty shelf inside a forgotten station house. Its cover smelled of smoke and rain. On the last page, in faded ink, were 4 words: "Find the last veil." And so, decades later, Evelyn's journey began. She was never meant to discover the train by accident. She was called because the starlight was never truly gone. It was waiting for someone who still believed in promises made under the rain. Welcome back, dreamers. Tonight, we open our eyes to a place between silence and awakening. The rain still falls. The world has changed. But the sound, that low, distant hum of wheels on forgotten rails, has returned. The Starlight Express is breathing again. Evelyn Vale hadn't slept in 3 nights. The sound had begun again, faint, almost like thunder. But she knew it wasn't thunder. She lived in a small town now, miles away from the ruins of Silvergrove Station. After her last encounter with the train, she thought it was over. The ghosts had found peace. The rails had gone quiet. Yet, at exactly 12:01 a.m., her window glass began to hum. And in the distance, she saw the faint shimmer of a single headlight moving through the fog. The midnight train was back. "No," she whispered, stepping closer to the window. "It can't be." But the echo answered, soft as memory, "We are not done yet." The next morning, Evelyn found a letter on her doorstep. It wasn't wet, though it had rained all night. The paper was old, yellowed, sealed with wax bearing the symbol of a silver star. Inside was a single line: "The starlight arrives tonight. Bring the diary." Her heart stopped. The diary, Alaric's old journal, was hidden beneath her bed. She hadn't opened it since the night she returned from the ghost station. Hands trembling, she lifted it from its box. It felt warm, and when she turned the first page, new writing had appeared. "Evelyn, the train cannot rest. The cycle must end. Find the last passenger." She left her house that night, wearing her father's old coat and carrying the diary close. The rain was steady, not heavy, not light, just enough to blur the edges of the world. She followed the tracks beyond the forest, through the broken fence and into the valley. Where there had once been ruins, There now stood a fully restored platform, glowing softly in the mist. Silver Grove Station had returned, alive once more. The lamps burned with pale light. The benches were dry, and from the darkness came that haunting whistle. "Passengers, please prepare for departure," said a voice through invisible speakers. And then she saw it. The Starlight Express sliding through the fog, wheels whispering against the rails, lights flickering like the veins of a sleeping star. The doors opened with a sigh. Evelyn stepped inside, half expecting to see Alaric at the helm, but the cabin was empty. The lights flickered. The air was cold and smelled faintly of ozone and lavender. She moved through the first car, empty seats, dusty windows, until she reached the dining carriage. There, sitting at one of the tables, was a figure dressed in black, reading a newspaper that hadn't been printed for decades. "You came," he said, without looking up. "The train's been waiting." "Who are you?" Evelyn asked. "Just a shadow," he replied, folding the paper. "Alaric built the engine, but I keep it moving." His eyes were not human. They shimmered like liquid mercury. "The diary called you because the story isn't over. The train is caught between two destinations, life and memory. You're the only one who can free it." The conductor led her to the final car. Inside, the air was filled with faint whispers, like pages turning underwater. Each seat held a faint figure, transparent and glowing softly. Souls. They weren't sad, nor peaceful, simply waiting. "Every journey must end," he said, "but one soul refuses." He pointed to the farthest corner. There sat a woman with hair like silver threads and eyes full of rain. Evelyn froze. It was her mother. "No," Evelyn whispered. "She died years ago." "She never left," said the conductor. "She boarded the train to protect you." Her mother smiled faintly. "You were never supposed to find this place, Evie. But you did. And now, you can do what I could not. Let us rest." Evelyn opened Alaric's diary. Its pages were glowing faintly, words rearranging themselves. "One life for many. One dream for eternity." "What does that mean?" she asked. "The train feeds on the boundary between dream and death," said the conductor. "Someone must guide it, or it will never stop." Evelyn looked at her mother, at the ghosts waiting silently, at the rain that fell against the windows like tears. Then she took a deep breath. "If it means they can rest, then I'll stay." Her mother's eyes filled with light. "My brave girl." The conductor nodded once. "Then take the lantern." He handed her a small silver lamp, the same one Alaric had held. The flame inside flickered gently, like a heartbeat. As Evelyn stepped into the control cabin, the train began to hum. Its wheels turned slowly, then faster. The whistle cried into the night, not mournful, but peaceful. From outside, the people of the valley saw lights moving through the clouds. The Starlight Express, reborn once again. But this time, no one heard its sorrow, only the soft, comforting rhythm of peace. Inside the train, Evelyn sat in the conductor's seat. She opened the diary one last time. Time does not move the same way aboard the Starlight Express. For Evelyn Vale, minutes stretched into hours, and hours dissolved into whispers. She could no longer tell if she was awake or dreaming. Every night, she walked through the carriages, checking on the passengers who now slept peacefully, wrapped in silver light. Their dreams glowed faintly, like small lanterns floating in still air. But then, one night, she noticed something wrong. In the very last carriage, the one she had never dared to open, a sound echoed. A heartbeat. Slow, uneven, alive. She hesitated before the door, the lantern trembling in her hand. Then, with a deep breath, she turned the handle. Inside, there was a single seat occupied, and in that seat sat a man, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. He was awake. Chapter 2. The Sleepless Passenger. "You shouldn't be here," Evelyn said softly. The man turned toward her. His face was pale, his eyes dark as midnight water. "Neither should you." His voice was calm, almost gentle, but beneath it, something pulsed. A rhythm out of time. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am the one who never slept," he said. "The first to board, the last to leave." Evelyn felt her heart tighten. "You mean before Alaric?" "Before me." He nodded slowly. "Before all of you. I built these tracks." Chapter 3. The Founder. His name was Elias Rowe, an engineer who had vanished decades before Alaric Vale was even born. He had been obsessed with creating a train that could outrun time, a machine that would carry souls across dreams, not for power, but for mercy. "I wanted to help them cross gently," Elias said, eyes distant. "But I stayed too long. The train began to feed on me, on my thoughts, my heartbeat. And now, I cannot sleep." He smiled faintly, a broken smile. "When the train took its first breath, it chained itself to my soul." Evelyn stepped closer. "Then why return now? Why reveal yourself?" "Because you've changed it," he said. "You gave it peace. But something in that peace is dying. The rails are fading. The dream is collapsing." Chapter 4. The Cracking Glass. Suddenly, the lantern in Evelyn's hand flickered violently. The train lurched. The walls shimmered like heat, and outside the windows, the rain began to fall upward. The air grew heavy, and a low sound, like 1,000 whispers exhaling, filled the car. "What's happening?" she shouted. Elias stood, his shadow stretching unnaturally long across the carriage. "The dream is collapsing. The passengers are waking, but they have nowhere to return to." Through the window, Evelyn saw the other carriages. Ghostly figures standing, eyes open, pressing against the glass. "They're trapped." "Yes," Elias said, voice low. "And the only way to save them is to end the train." Chapter 5. The Heart of the Starlight. They rushed toward the engine room, the same cabin Alaric had once controlled. The lantern pulsed brighter with every step, guiding them through the trembling corridors. When they reached the heart of the train, Evelyn gasped. The engine wasn't metal anymore. It was alive. Veins of silver light pulsed through it, beating like a living heart. Elias placed his hand on the core. "It remembers every dream, every name, every tear." He looked back at her. "If you want to free them, you must burn the dream itself." Evelyn hesitated. "But that would destroy everything. Even you. Especially me." He smiled softly. "That's the point." Chapter 6. The Last Signal. Evelyn raised the lantern. Its light mingled with the heart's glow until both began to merge, silver threads weaving into gold. The train screamed, not in pain, but in release. All at once, Evelyn saw flashes of every passenger, faces smiling, fading into stars. Her mother, Alaric, even the conductor, they all turned to her, whispering one word in unison. "Thank you." The rain outside froze midair. The rails vanished beneath them, and the Starlight Express began to dissolve into a storm of silver dust. Chapter 7. After the Light. When Evelyn opened her eyes, she was standing in a field at dawn. The grass was wet, the sky pale blue. No train, no tracks, only the sound of gentle rain. In her hand, she still held the lantern. Its flame was gone, but the glass was warm. She looked toward the horizon. and for just a moment, she saw a faint shimmer, a silhouette of a train made of mist, gliding toward the sun. She smiled. The rain has stopped, but the memory of it lingers, soft against the edge of silence. Some say the Starlight Express vanished forever that night, dissolving into dawn. But others swear they can still hear its echo when the world grows quiet enough. It begins not with thunder this time, but with a hum, a pulse, a heartbeat under the soil. Far beyond the fields where Evelyn last stood, something stirs beneath the earth, a whisper of metal and starlight returning to life. Evelyn thought it was over. Weeks had passed since she awoke in that endless meadow, her hands empty, but her mind full of fragments. Faces, voices, light. She had buried the lantern beneath an old oak tree, hoping its warmth would fade away with time. But on the seventh night, when the moon hung low and red, she woke to a soft knocking at her window. 3 knocks. Steady, calm, like the rhythm of a train she once knew. When she opened her eyes, she saw nothing, only mist and the faint glimmer of silver where the horizon met the rain. Her breath trembled. She whispered, "It can't be." And then she heard it, that soft voice, distant but unmistakable. "Evelyn Vale, you promised us rest." Her heart stopped. The voice wasn't angry. It wasn't even sad. It was pleading. Evelyn grabbed her coat and stepped into the night. The grass was wet beneath her boots, and the wind carried a scent she hadn't smelled in so long, the metallic sweetness of the old tracks. She followed the sound through the fog, each step guided by memory more than sight. And there, beneath the ancient oak, the earth had split open. The lantern was glowing again, brighter than ever before. Its glass pulsed softly, as if breathing. The flame inside flickered between silver and gold, whispering words she couldn't quite understand. Then, the ground trembled. From beneath her feet came the low, distant echo of wheels turning. Slowly, impossibly, the outlines of tracks began to reappear, etched into the wet grass by invisible light. And from the mist ahead came the faint, familiar silhouette of a train. Not the Starlight as it was. This one was smaller, quieter, almost gentle in its presence. The light from its windows was dim, soft like candlelight, and as it drew near, Evelyn realized there were no carriages, only a single compartment, carved from starlight and shadow. The door opened with a sigh, and from within stepped a figure cloaked in fog. Not Elias, not the conductor, someone new. Their face was hidden, their voice calm and low. "You carried the flame. Now it carries you." Evelyn's fingers shook. "What do you mean?" "The train was never just a passage for souls," said the figure. "It was a promise to remember. When dreams fade, someone must keep them alive." The stranger reached out a hand. Their palm glowed faintly, reflecting the lantern's light. "You freed the dream, Evelyn. But some memories can't let go of you." Before she could answer, the lantern flared, blinding and pure. The world seemed to fall away, grass turning to mist, mist to stars, and stars to motion. When her vision cleared, she was standing once more inside a carriage. But this time, everything was different. The walls were made of soft glass, through which entire galaxies drifted like snow. The air hummed with a deep, rhythmic calm. Not haunting, but peaceful, as if the train itself had learned how to dream. Evelyn sat by the window. Outside, she saw echoes, faint silhouettes of the passengers she'd once guided, smiling as they vanished into light. Even her mother, standing among them, waving slowly as the train moved through eternity. Tears rolled down her cheeks, silent and warm. She whispered, "Is this the end?" The figure beside her smiled gently. "No, Evelyn Vale. This is remembrance, and remembrance never ends." The lantern flickered once more, its flame splitting into countless tiny sparks that drifted through the cabin like fireflies. Each spark carried a voice, a laugh, a dream, all the things she had once thought lost. And as the train rolled deeper into the infinite horizon, Evelyn felt something she hadn't in a long, long time. Peace. She leaned her head against the glass, eyes closing slowly, listening to the rhythm beneath her. Not a heartbeat, not a machine, but a lullaby. "Good night," she murmured softly. "And thank you for remembering." Outside, the sky unfolded into a river of stars. The train glided onward, silent and timeless, carrying the last echoes of rain and dreams into forever. And somewhere, far away, the world exhaled, as if finally, at last, it could rest. If you're still here, then maybe a part of you never truly left. The rain has long faded, but somewhere in the quiet between heartbeats, the starlight train still hums, softly, patiently, waiting. Evelyn Vale sat by the window of the eternal carriage. Time had no meaning here, only the feeling of endless motion, a rhythm that cradled her mind like a lullaby. The stars outside pulsed gently, breathing in harmony with her own chest. She didn't know how long she had been traveling. Hours, days, or lifetimes, it didn't matter. Each second felt infinite, and each light outside whispered a story she had once forgotten. The conductor, or what remained of him, appeared one last time. He no longer wore a hat or gloves. His figure shimmered like light wrapped in memory. "Evelyn," he said softly, "the train has reached its horizon." She looked out the window. There was no station, no platform, only a sea of silver mist stretching endlessly. "And what lies beyond it?" she asked. The conductor smiled, his voice now little more than wind. "Whatever you wish to remember, or whatever you're ready to let go." For a long while, she said nothing. The lantern still glowed on her lap, its flame gentle now, no longer wild, no longer calling. It simply existed, breathing with her. "If I step off," she whispered, "what happens to the train?" "It moves on," said the conductor. "It always does. Someone else will hear its call someday, and maybe they'll remember you." Evelyn closed her eyes. She thought of the rain, of her mother's voice, of Elias laughing in the fog, of the countless souls she had met in dreams, all carried safely into the light. Tears welled softly, not of sorrow, but gratitude. She stood up, her reflection shimmering across the glass. And for a moment, she wasn't sure if she was standing in the carriage or floating among the stars. "Thank you," she whispered to the conductor, "for guiding me home." The figure bowed once, slow, graceful, and then dissolved into the glow of the lantern, merging with the flame itself. A soft chime rang through the air. Outside, the stars began to move, not around her, but with her. The train's windows faded, its walls turning transparent until the entire carriage became one with the night sky. She took a deep breath, feeling no fear now, only calm. The lantern flickered once, twice, and then lifted from her hands, floating upward. Its flame broke apart into thousands of tiny embers, spreading across the stars like seeds of light. Each one whispered a name. Each one carried a dream. And in that infinite quiet, Evelyn heard them. All the souls she had helped, all the memories she thought she'd lost, thanking her gently like the wind through leaves. She smiled. The last thing she felt was warmth, soft, like morning sunlight through curtains. And then, as the lantern's glow faded into the dawn of eternity, she spoke her final words. "I'm not afraid anymore." The starlight train shimmered, its shape dissolving completely. Where it had been, there was only silence, and the distant echo of its whistle carried away on the cosmic wind. And somewhere, far below, on a rainy night in the waking world, a young child stirred in sleep, hearing the faint sound of a train passing through their dreams. A whisper brushed against their heart. "When you hear the rain, listen closely. You might just catch the last dream of the starlight." The child smiled and turned over, sinking deeper into peace. Outside, rain began to fall again, not cold or sorrowful, but warm, gentle, alive. Each drop carried a shimmer of silver light, like tiny echoes of Evelyn's lantern. The world dreamed on, and the starlight train, though unseen, kept moving, forever between memory and moonlight. The journey continued for hours, or what felt like hours, though in these lands, time moved strangely. They passed islands that glowed with bioluminescent forests, lakes that reflected entire constellations, and mountains that floated in impossible arcs, their peaks lost in swirling mists. Finally, they approached a valley shrouded in darkness, a stark contrast to the radiant landscapes they had crossed. The clouds above twisted into a vortex of black and silver, lightning arcing in impossible angles, and a low hum vibrated through the air, as if the land itself were alive and wary of intruders. "This is the Veil of Forgotten Echoes," the phoenix said. "Within it lies the source of the darkness that stirs beyond the peaks. Here, the threads are tangled, chaotic, and unstable. Proceed with caution." Alicia's heart thumped. She had never felt such a concentration of raw energy. The shadows they had faced in the peaks were controlled, almost disciplined. This was wild, primal, and dangerous. Yet she steeled herself. The moment their wings pierced the edge of the veil, Alicia felt the threads of reality pulling at her, bending, twisting, as if testing her resolve. Figures formed within the mists, phantoms of lost dreams, echoes of forgotten lives, whispers of ancient regrets. Each one reached toward her, not with malice, but with hunger for recognition, for release, for understanding. "You must see them clearly," the phoenix instructed. "Do not flee, do not attack. Understand their essence, and they may guide you rather than consume you." Alicia nodded and extended her heart into the threads, feeling the stories of the echoes, their fears, their unfulfilled hopes. Slowly, the phantoms began to shimmer, transforming from haunting shapes into threads of silver and violet, weaving themselves into patterns that guided her through the chaotic veil. At the center of the valley rose a colossal spire of black crystal, encased in swirling clouds of shadow and lightning. Its surface was etched with runes that pulsed like the heartbeat of the world, and within its core, she sensed the presence of the ancient force, the darkness that threatened the peaks. "This is it," the phoenix said, "the source. What resides here is older than even the sentinel, older than the peaks themselves. Approach with clarity, courage, and understanding, or you may be consumed." Alicia's pulse quickened. She felt the threads connecting the spire to every part of the horizon, the floating islands, the guardians, the clouds, and even the peaks behind her. She realized that confronting this darkness was not about defeating it with strength alone. It was about understanding its nature, its purpose, and the balance it disrupted. As she approached, the spire's shadow began to take form, twisting into a creature of immense scale, wings woven from pure darkness, eyes glowing with violet fire. It radiated raw power, the kind that could unweave entire islands, sever threads of life, and consume even the light of the phoenix. Alicia's hands trembled, but she remembered the lessons of the temples and the shadows. She took a deep breath, extending her consciousness into the threads, letting her heart resonate with the living world around her. "I do not seek to destroy you," she whispered, voice firm. "I wish to understand, to restore balance, to learn." The creature hesitated, its wings spreading wide as if measuring her words, her heart, her courage. A voice echoed within her mind, resonant and commanding. "Many have come seeking to conquer, to claim, to destroy. Few have sought to understand. Why should I trust you, little one?" Alicia's heart glowed with the light of the phoenix. "Because I do not stand alone. I am connected to the peaks, to the phoenix, and to the world. I carry the courage and wisdom of those who have walked before me, and I will respect the balance of all that exists. I will not harm unless I must, and even then, I act only to protect." For a moment, the threads of the veil pulsed violently, lightning arcing across the spire, winds tearing through the valley. Then, slowly, the darkness contracted, forming a single, massive eye that regarded her. And for the first time, Alicia felt a sense of recognition, not fear, but an acknowledgement of connection, of understanding. "You are different," the creature said. "You may yet bear the light of balance. But the journey has only begun. Beyond this horizon lie lands older than the peaks, trials that will test every truth you hold, and choices that will shape the very threads of reality. Are you prepared to go further?" Alicia's breath caught, but she met the creature's gaze with unwavering determination. "I am," she said. "Whatever awaits, I will face it. I will protect the peaks, the phoenix, and all that is alive in these skies." The darkness contracted, folding into the spire, and the veil of forgotten echoes began to calm. The floating islands shimmered with renewed light, guardians of the horizon returning to their posts, their eyes glimmering with trust and anticipation. The phoenix flared its wings, silver light cascading across the valley. "You have taken your first step beyond the horizon, listener. What lies ahead will demand all your courage, wisdom, and heart. The forces you face are older, stronger, and more cunning than any shadows you have known. But you are ready." Alicia exhaled, feeling the threads of the peaks, the horizon, and the phoenix flow through her. She realized that the journey ahead would redefine her understanding of courage, responsibility, and destiny. Every choice, Every action, every heartbeat would ripple across the threads of the world. And as she and the phoenix rose into the violet-tinged sky once more, she knew that the true adventure had only begun. A journey that would take her beyond imagination, into the deepest mysteries of the peaks, the horizon, and the ancient sky itself. The sky above the horizon had transformed into a canvas of radiant colors. Where storms of violet and shadows had once dominated, now threads of gold and silver danced through the clouds, carrying whispers of hope and triumph. Alicia perched on the back of the silver phoenix, her heart racing, not with fear this time, but with the electric anticipation of the final challenge that awaited them beyond the horizon. "Listener," the phoenix said softly, feathers shimmering in the golden light, "we have come far. We have faced shadows, conquered the temples, met the ancient sky, and crossed the veil of forgotten echoes. But the source of the darkness remains, and it will not yield easily. Are you ready to finish this journey?" Alicia nodded, her eyes reflecting the brilliance of the skies. "I am ready. Together, we can end this." They soared beyond the floating islands into a realm where the very threads of reality seemed to tremble. The air vibrated with immense energy, thick with both light and darkness. At the center of this domain, a colossal citadel of black crystal rose from the clouds, pulsating with violet fire. This was the heart of the ancient threat, the source of chaos that sought to unravel the peaks, the horizon, and everything connected to the phoenix. From the citadel emerged creatures of unimaginable power. Dragons of shadow, serpents of lightning, beings that seemed born from storms themselves. Their roars shook the air, their eyes burning with fury. The phoenix flared its wings, silver light cascading in a protective shield around Alicia. "Remember," it said, voice firm, "strength alone will not prevail. Your courage, clarity, and understanding of the threads will guide us." Alicia took a deep breath. She extended her hands, allowing the threads of the peaks, the horizon, and the world beyond to flow through her. The creatures hesitated, sensing the connection, the harmony that now pulsed in her heart and the phoenix's wings. With a sudden surge, the darkness coalesced into a massive being, a shadow that eclipsed the sun, wings of void stretching infinitely, eyes glowing with violet fire. Its voice rumbled like thunder, "Mortal and phoenix, you dare challenge me? I am older than your world, stronger than your courage. Submit or be unmade." Alicia's heart did not falter. She remembered the lessons of the temples, the shadows, and the ancient sky. "We do not submit," she said, voice steady, "because we fight for balance, for light, for every living thread that binds this world together. You cannot unmake what is protected by courage, understanding, and hope." The battle began. The phoenix and Alicia weaved through the storm of dark creatures, threads of silver and gold striking the shadows, unraveling illusions, restoring balance. The creatures of darkness lunged, but Alicia's connection to the threads allowed her to anticipate their movements, redirecting their power into streams of light. The phoenix flared, each beat of its wings sending cascades of silver fire through the storm. The shadow being roared, launching a vortex of pure darkness toward them. Alicia reached deep into the threads, drawing every fragment of courage, hope, and clarity she had cultivated. She extended her arms, channeling the energy into a radiant sphere of light that collided with the darkness. The impact shook the skies, lightning crackling, clouds swirling violently. For a heartbeat, all seemed lost. The shadows surged, consuming streams of light. But then, threads of silver began to weave through the darkness, guided by Alicia's will, her heart, and the Phoenix's power. Light intertwined with shadow, not to destroy, but to harmonize, to restore the balance that had been disrupted for centuries. The colossal being shrieked, the sound resonating across floating islands and into the peaks. Slowly, it began to diminish, unraveling not into destruction, but into threads that wove back into the sky, the clouds, the islands, restoring the natural order. The creatures of shadow dissolved, some transforming into guardians of light, their rage replaced by calm vigilance. Alicia landed on a floating island as the Phoenix hovered beside her, wings gently folding. The clouds parted, revealing the sun breaking through in brilliant gold and silver streaks, illuminating the peaks, the horizon, and every island beyond. "We did it," Alicia whispered, tears glinting in her eyes. She had faced the greatest darkness, not through force alone, but through courage, wisdom, and understanding. The world seemed to breathe with her, alive with relief and calm. The Phoenix lowered its head, touching her shoulder lightly. "You have done more than survive, listener. You have restored balance, guided lost threads, and proven that the heart of a mortal, aligned with the silver Phoenix, can confront even ancient darkness and prevail." From the distant peaks, a chorus of winds carried whispers of gratitude and harmony. Floating islands shimmered with renewed life, the guardians of the horizon soaring in elegant flight, acknowledging her victory. The threads of the peaks and the horizon pulsed in resonance, a symphony of light and sound, celebrating courage and balance restored. Alicia looked beyond the horizon, at lands still unexplored, at mysteries still untold. She knew this journey had ended, but the world itself was eternal, alive, and waiting for new guardians, new heroes, and new tales. She had grown, transformed, and risen to meet her destiny. The Phoenix flared its wings one last time, silver light cascading across the skies. The peaks, the horizon, and the threads of life will always endure. You are now a part of that eternal balance. Remember this, listener, wherever your journey takes you next. Alicia smiled, heart light, spirit calm. She had faced the unknown, triumphed over darkness, and discovered the depth of courage, wisdom, and hope within herself. And as the sun rose fully over the horizon, painting the peaks and islands in gold and silver, she knew that she and the Silver Phoenix had not only survived, but had reshaped the world with light, heart, and unbreakable courage. The skies pulsed with life, the wind carried whispers of victory, and for the first time, Alicia felt the full, resounding joy of triumph. She whispered softly to the Phoenix, "Thank you for guiding me, for trusting me, and for showing me the way." The Phoenix circled above, wings aglow. "And thank you, listener, for having the courage to rise, to face the shadows, and to embrace the light. Together, we have completed the journey." The floating islands shimmered, the clouds parted, and the world of the peaks, horizon, and beyond was calm, alive, and vibrant once more. The Silver Phoenix soared into the endless sky, a beacon of hope, courage, and eternal guardianship, and Alicia, its companion, smiled, ready for whatever new horizons might come. Sparkles, thank you for watching. Sparkles, I hope you enjoyed this journey into the world of the Golden Mountain. Your support means the world. If you like this story, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you won't miss any new adventures. And I want to hear from you. What should I bring to you in the next episodes? More mysterious mountains, magical creatures, hidden worlds, or even completely new tales? Leave your ideas in the comments. I'll be reading every single one, and who knows, your suggestion might inspire the next story. See you in the next dream. Crescent Moon Sparkles.